All right. I've already introduced this car before. This is a Mercury Gray Marquis LSE. It is a 2003, even though at least it comes up as a 2003, even though the tag right there says April of '02. So, whatever. As you can see, I got everything torn apart here from the door and under the dash. Troubleshoot an issue called B1681, which is, I know that reflection is a little horrible. B1681, which is a what they call a transponder fault issue. If you can see that there. And transponder means, you know, a radio that can receive and transmit, right? Transponder. Well, I went through this, and what we're looking for here is where these wires here go. I thought, oh, okay, well, there's a little ring right up here, right there by the, that goes behind this piece of plastic, and that little ring I thought was just a little antenna ring. Let me show you what this looks like off of the car. I think I have the old one right over here. All right, here's the old one. Looks fine, right? Well, to me, when I look at this, I think, oh, that's just a little weird, little generic, little loop of wire. It's an antenna. This, to me, I was thinking was an antenna. Even though it's got 4 wires, I was like, well, what the heck in this could go wrong? Like, what? Get focus in there. What would make this go bad? How does this go bad? Like, how? It's just sitting there. It just sits in there, and it just, anyways. So I started troubleshooting it. I checked all the fuses under the hood. I checked all the fuses here. It did pop a fuse at some point when I went to go pick this up from where my wife was stranded down the road. It did pop a fuse for what ended up being the door module, the driver's door module. Please nobody break into my car. Anyways, the driver's door module goes here, and this piece of wire you see here that I'm getting ready to solder in, it was, where's the old one at? There it is. This is what kind of led me down the yellow brick road. When I was troubleshooting this, again, my thought was that that little piece that I showed you was just pretty much a dumb antenna. Like, maybe it needed power to, you know, to activate, you know, to create a magnetic field. But I thought, oh, okay, it's just a dumb antenna. This little wire here, you can see it all melted, no insulation right there. That was hooked up right here, and this little wiring here goes up to the keypad. Well, the wire for the keypad, this ground wire, was all, it melted through all of this tape, all this insulation and everything. The wire just pretty much burnt itself down. And I was like, what the heck? Well, maybe that's what caused all this. Like, you know, so then I start checking fuses, and I start checking voltages, all that stuff, and for some reason this 5 amp fuse here and this 10 amp fuse here all have about 6 volts whenever the car is on and running. Well, okay, fine, those have 6 volts. All right, so I take my little butt over here. This trailer's another project. I take my butt over here and I check this Marauder, and it doesn't act the same. Now, I know this is a 2004 Marauder, and there's some slight differences, but I wouldn't think that many. So again, guys, I'm taking you down my, maybe this will help save you all some time, but I'm taking you all down like my thought process here as I'm troubleshooting this. All right, so I'll come back to this girl, and I'm troubleshooting, and I'm thinking that there's some ground. So I pull up the schematics. I have an offline version, if you will, hint hint, of all data, and I went through all the different specs on it. I checked all these little grounds that are everywhere. There's one here, there's one back underneath the dash, there's a few under the hood up there. You know, I check all the grounds because I'm thinking, well, if I've got 6 volts, then I've got resistance somewhere. Like, there's a bad ground or something. Something's backfeeding. Something's going on. And I found nothing. All of them were good, guys. So then I was like, man, again, this antenna, I'm thinking this thing is just a stupid little antenna. This thing, where this little green plug is. So I'm thinking that this is a stupid little antenna. Then I'm like, okay, I'm looking at forums, I'm looking everywhere under God's green earth. You know, this car is just old enough to where sometimes it's hard to find people that program and stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll just get rid of the PATS system altogether. I'm like, okay, well, I'll get a couple computers. You know, I got one there, PhD0. I think this one here, the BPA, this one here was out of a Crown Vic. Of course, it doesn't have PATS, the passive anti-theft system. So, okay, I thought, well, I hate to switch out the computer that's in this, because it's a LSE, and there's some slight differences with a police computer. And then I found this one here. Is this one slightly newer, or is it older? I can't remember. This little sticker's gone, but it's basically RW02 is what was on the sticker. So then I find this one, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this one here will have, you know, what I need. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm already walking around, and what you see here is kind of like a precursor to stuff I'll be doing later, and I also have some more door modules. If anybody needs a door module or something, go ahead and contact me. I don't need 3, but, you know, I'd be willing to sell one, or not 2 at this point. I was sitting there thinking, well, you know, maybe I can program these things, or and put the same oomph in them that's in the LSE computer, or you know, do away with the passive anti-theft altogether. I've got a 4scan, but it doesn't look like it can really do anything on this computer. So I've got another what is the name of that? A J25, J12, I don't remember. Hopefully when I'm editing this, I'll put the right type of part number in there. But it's a special adapter that you can use to plug in here and essentially be able to write to the computer. So I've got 2 different versions of that on the way. I guess what I'm saying is, at some point here in the very near future, I'm going to get both my feet directly into programming these computers. If you don't know where it is for this car, it's right up there. Right up there. But I'm going to get into being able to program these things, and on this computer that's in this car, and also over there on my Marauder, I'm going to remove PATS. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to do a little write-up on it or something, because I don't know about you all, and I'm talking to you all, Mercury Marquee group, you know, Panther groups that I'm in on FaceCrack. There's no great write-up on how to delete this stuff that I've found. Even on Crown Vic, you know, I wasn't able to find via Googling, and you know, Googling has gotten worse over the years, but I wasn't able to find a great write-up on how to get into the computer and delete PATS and have it be successful, you know, even without this token ring thing hooked up here. Token ring, that's from networking way a long time ago. Anyways, show my age. But what you all came here for, and I'm not trying to I'll also replace this because the automatic headlights weren't turning off, and I don't need to be you know, overrunning the alternator during the summer with the headlights on during the day. What I'm trying to get to here is the error was 1681. And it said transponder. And I'm looking around for a separate module in there, testing these wires to see if they have voltage, all that stuff. This is the transponder. So if for whatever reason, and I haven't taken this one apart to figure it out, but for whatever reason you get a 1680, 1681, whatever it is, and it says transponder, just go get this. Go to the junkyard, go get this. This is what it is. Just this little thing. All right. Hopefully this saves somebody some time later on and they won't have to deal with the same stuff. I know that this was like an entire week because I was overthinking the word transponder, and I was looking for a little radio that talked to the ECU, and it wasn't until I looked at the pinouts for the ECU that I saw RX and TX, which corresponded with the RX and TX on this plug. In other words, this goes to the ECU on this year, on this model of Panther. Hope this helps somebody out. And you know, questions, comments, whatever, I welcome them. Go ahead and, you know, put it down below. My name is Rico, and this is Rocky's Auto Consulting. Bye. All right, so have you ever had a thought and like you start to put it together and you think you're done, but then you realize you kind of missed the bigger picture? That's what happened here. So after this, I'm putting the how to put together / take apart what you need in order to troubleshoot this this token ring issue, or this transponder issue on this Grand Marquis. Enjoy, or stop here if you already know how to do that. Hey guys, it's Rico here. I ended off the video earlier, so this is going to look maybe a little backwards, but I didn't tell you what it took to get this thing apart, what it took to take this dash and stuff apart. And sometimes that stuff isn't included on videos, but if it's a car that I haven't worked on before, I love seeing that stuff, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't have that. I better run up to Harbor Freight or whatever, or AutoZone or O'Reilly's, and go get that, or, you know, my local Ace, where I get a lot of my tools. Shout out to Ruggiero's Ace. The here in Queen Creek, Arizona. One of the first things you're going to want to do, there's a bunch of, at least for this particular car, there's a bunch of Phillips head screws that are kind of deep down in there. You can use a driver like this, a Phillips driver, Phillips number 2. If it's way too pointy, then it's probably number 1, and you're going to strip stuff out. But a Phillips 2, you can use this, but you see how this shank right here is fatter? It makes it kind of difficult to get down in here, you know, get all the way in there to the end of where that screw is. So if you have this, and this is all you have, you'll get the job done. You'll complete the mission. But the best thing to do is to have just a standard shank screwdriver like this, a purpose-made, you know, number 2. This is a 4-inch long one. Ace, right there it is. And that'll get in there real good. So, you know, that's one step right there.
That's it, boy. Get in there nice and deep like.
Yeah, that's not good.
See, you'll also want, if you don't have one, that's fine. And I didn't end up using it a whole lot on this particular job, but a panel popper to get out these little tiny, these little plastic, I don't know what you would call them, just like little plastic inserts that hold stuff in. And these, some people call them clips or whatever, but you know, these little push pins, they're all over the place on these cars. So if you bought a car like this, this would be your friend. All right, next you'll want a 7mm, because to get out some things like the bolts that hold this and hold this up here where the parking brake lever is, you'll need that. And all of that is usually up here, but I still have all mine out. But before I put it all back together, I wanted to tell you all what it took to get it apart, you know. All right, so you've got this off, all of your Phillips screws, and if you wanted to, you went ahead and took this off to get it out of your way with the little push inserts here, little plastic push pins. Used your 7mm, you got this guy off, and now you're left with this guy right here. Well, this guy here is held in with a bunch of 10mm bolts, so you'll need a 10mm. So there you go. All right, you got that off. You got this off, this little underpiece. You got this off, which goes underneath of the steering wheel knuckle, you know, steering column. If you want it off, you got this off, but this right here is optional. I took it off because I was troubleshooting this issue, and I didn't know how far I would have to go, and or, you know, what all I was going to have to get up into under there, to be all honest. That being said, that's held in with a bunch of these, which are 8mm. These are little 8mm guys, and well, you'll need an 8mm socket for that. So there's that. And let me see, I feel like I'm missing something. Actually, oh, yep, there's one more thing. One more thing that was going to catch you if you didn't have it, and that is you'll need a, let's see, 10, 15, you'll need a T20 Torx. A Torx T20. This here is just a little set, you know, that I got probably from Ace also, to be honest. And that's because there's a little tiny screw, like so, that holds in the little transceiver that we had to replace in this car for error 1681. Yep, it's not a security Torx. It's just a regular Torx. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. You can see that right there. It's probably hard to see, but there it is. And that's the only thing that really holds in. Let me get it. That guy right there. The thing I showed you. The thing I showed you when I took video yesterday. And that's this guy right here. I still can't believe that this is what was bad. But anyways, so again, I wanted to tell you what you needed in order to take this apart, because it's frustrating when I go to start a job and I can't find anything. Oh yeah, I got the door all put back together today, and that's all done. It's all good. For whatever reason, this passenger window isn't rolling up or down now. I don't know what happened. It's got a motor in it and everything else, so I'll find out later. I'm sure it'll show itself. But this is the Mercury LSE 2003, and I'm going to put it back together and try to get this video up and done tonight so that the Gray Marquee group can see it. But you know, don't let, as long as you got the stuff that I outlined here, 10 mil, 7 mil, 8 mil, some Torx bits, and you know, maybe a panel popper and a Phillips, and you know, for other jobs, a flathead screwdriver, and you know, maybe a meter. You could fix just about anything on these cars, at least on the interior. But I'm rambling. I'll talk to you later. If you have any questions or anything, or comments or feedback, you know, shoot me a message. Don't be shy. Thanks.